Welcome back to Late Night at the Movies on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. This is episode 60, Kill Bill Volume 2. I'm your host, Nico, here today. Once again with me, we got Julie Mack in the house and Max. Of course, regulars on the show. JT wasn't able to join us for this one, unfortunately, but he will be missed. But in his place, we do have a great guest here today, returning guest after part one, and that's Parth. What's going on, man?
Woo, woo. Thank you for the invite.
And this was his pick, Kill Bill, and big undertaking. We're very happy here though, because it is a Tarantino movie. The third one that we have ever done on Late Night at the Movies. So surprisingly, we've really been trying to savor some of these picks, it seems like. So, but yeah, this is great. Definitely go check out part one in the feed, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Julie here to set this one up.
All right. So just to, revisit a little bit of a summary, because we are now doing Volume 2, Kill Bill Volume 2. To revisit what I said in part one. Part 2 was released in 2004. It's written by Tarantino and Uma Thurman, directed by Tarantino. The synopsis sort of is that the bride, played by Uma Thurman, continues her quest of vengeance against her former boss and lover, Bill, the reclusive bouncer, Bud, and the treacherous one-eyed Elle. And that's sort of the summary of what goes on in part 2. Again, this is my first full watch through of part 2. I don't think I had ever seen any bits and pieces of part 2. None of it was familiar to me. And I quite enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the movie as a whole. Like, as to think of it as one entire movie, I really liked it a lot. I would say I don't have a lot of experience in the Tarantino filmography. I'm about halfway through, I think, was my read on the 9 of them there. But this is up there for me. I think, I forget who said it, if it was Max or Nico. They said that this would be among probably my favorite Tarantino features, that this is definitely up there for me. That was a good read. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, I think Max said that. Yeah.
He did last episode when we did Blowout that you would like this, but then he second guessed himself. He's like, I don't know though. Sometimes you like things that you don't like.
A bit of a wild card, you know?
You really are. You're definitely the wild card of the group.
No, it was a good read.
Definitely.
Which makes the dynamic kind of really good when we bring picks to the show, I feel like, with our usual group. I do like that, right? But
listen, I do it for the comedy. I'm just here for comic relief, you know?
Are you Jay? Is that your Jay impression?
No, I'm a
They
the
both start
Neekster.
with the letter J.
Oh, the Neekster. I thought you were doing a JT impression there.
The Neekster. Oh my god.
No, if I was doing JT, I would say, this was interesting. I watched it on the toilet.
Never forget.
I know.
Never forget the Neekster, yeah, for sure.
Fucking turtle from Entourage, right?
Yeah.
That was great.
But yeah, so great though that you brought on a guest here with Parth who actually does share our interest in that sense as well by picking this. Not that I would have been against whatever he picked, but like it worked out very well in that sense. But I'm glad to hear that you're slowly making your way through his filmography, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to watch them all.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Doing the Lord's
Yeah.
work. The Lord Tarantino.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, I gotta brush up on the rest of the catalog and make my assessment of my top 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we generally though have to go through more of a recap of like our experience with this film. I think Julie's the only one that it was new to here, as she just mentioned. The rest of us have all seen it. If you do want to hear more of a detailed explanation, you can go check out part 1 where we do go over that. But yeah, so I guess maybe we'll just get into likes, dislikes about this movie. That being said, I don't know, Parth, if you want to start us off here, this being your pick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been comparing 1 and 2 kind of like to the anime saga stuff, and this one is that. This is when the hero of the anime is starting to learn their superpower and learn, like, see where they became powerful from. So that's what I really loved about this movie. The whole Paime stuff, top notch, loved it all. So that's, it still continued to go with that theme, and it killed it for me.
Yeah, I know we talked about this on part one, so I'm interested to hear your answer. But I made this statement in part one, and I said we'll talk about it when we get to part two. I like part two better than part one.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I do too. I knew this
Yeah.
was gonna be. I think I knew it was gonna be. You were bracing for unpopular opinion, and I was with you on the unpopular opinion. And I feel like I already see where Max, he was standing with saying that
Where my
one was-
loyalties lie.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Here's the thing, though. I think it's changed over time for me because I would agree. Originally, I thought part one was better. Honestly, just for the fact, like we stated in part one, everything from, like you said, the animated sequence there, or I had said for me, like the her getting the sword all the way through that fight with Oren there, like that part of which is like 3/4 of the film, honestly, or half of the movie, is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's just for me, like I'm gonna sort of throw this out now as we're talking about likes and dislikes. Michael Madsen is fantastic in this movie. I like Michael Madsen so much in this movie, in this particular movie. I actually, and I know that, like, if we're going to talk about unpopular opinions, and I'm sure you agree, is that that most people say he's the best in Reservoir Dogs for Quentin Tarantino. I think he's great in Reservoir Dogs. I actually love his character in this movie for whatever reason. I just really love Michael Madsen in this movie. And then also you got to remember, this is where you finally see Bill in this second part as well, too.
Right.
So like for me, this is the stronger of the two movies if we're going to compare them both on their own merit. Just because I like so many. There's the only thing I dislike, and if again we're going into possible unpopular opinion zone about this second film, we talked about parts where it dragged last episode. The ending is a little too long for me when she finally meets Bill. Just a tad too long. This whole meetup between them finally exchanging all this like feelings about each other and the stuff with the kid and everything else. I feel like if that was just a little tighter, that end, it would be perfect, this second movie. But for me, that's the one part of this movie that just drags on a little bit too much for me. The Paime stuff is fantastic. I'm a sucker for a training montage. I love that shit. Seeing her punch the wall, learning how she learned the 5-point palm heart exploding like technique. Like this is just candy to me. The second one. The second one is just even leans more into the type of shit that I would think you would come to expect or love about the kung fu films, even though I've experienced too many of them myself. Like this is why I love this second one so much. And David Carradine's just fantastic in this too. And I like the second one more than the first. I've grown my appreciation over time. I'm glad to hear that.
I think the first one was a better, like, strictly action movie to me. But if we take the second one's like dialogue and story and weave all that into the consideration, I think it's a better movie. And then just to play a little devil's advocate on that last scene going on a little bit too long, I think some of the best dialogue happens there between Bill and Bride. So that there is some really good stuff there. And so like that just kind of shows that this was the dialogue movie. First one was the gore, action movie. But they both still have amazing dialogue and amazing, action, vice versa.
Also, this is like but this is why like it may be unfair to look at them at two different. I know this is how what we're supposed to do it here in this sitting. But because you get all the payoff moments in this movie too. You learn everything comes back around. You learn why Elle is missing her eye. You learn how, you know what I mean? Like you learn about the kid. You learn about why she got in this position to begin with. So like it's kind of hard to root against the first one if you're going to compare the two in that sense, because there's so much more to kind of take in the second film that makes it more enjoyable to me as a result, right? And that's not to say I think the ending's bad. I like the ending. I just, that's just upon this watch, maybe for the first time ever, I just felt like they could have made it like even 5 minutes less than what they did. I just think it dragged on a little bit too much. But the way Bill went out at the end was fantastic. That whole conversation that they had, which was needed, honestly, was great. And for me, like you mentioned the dialogue part, the whole Michael Madsen part when Bill goes to talk to him, I wrote down the whole scene that they talk almost for my quotes, which we'll get into
it's
later.
so good.
It is some of the best. Like, I know everyone talks about the Inglorious Bastard intro, or he talks about like his speeches that he had in Pulp Fiction with the Watch or everything else, which are all great. But just the way that they're exchanging the dialogue and the conversation between those two
amazing.
characters
It's
in that scene, and I think I honestly feel like it's the best Michael Madsen that I've seen, and I haven't seen too much of his stuff outside Tarantino. I just think he's just very natural in this role in this movie, and just really good. Like, it's kind of he even plays well when he's like looking defeated, like being the fucking bouncer at the titty bar, as he puts it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're making it. Yeah, he's just taking it. Like, you know, the guy freaks out about him wearing his shit kicker hat, and we're cleaning up the shit water and all that stuff. Just love
knowing that this is a guy that could just kill everybody there in a second, right? And then that's why it makes it even better. Like, he's just hanging his head, even though he knows he could just chop his head off.
And he just takes it on the chin, and like he knows that. Like, it when Elle says all that shit about him, it's true. He literally probably pissed away all his money because he's a drunk. He's got the sword in the other room that he lied about not having, right? It's because he can't keep up with his skills. Bill said that. If you kept up with your skills, he's like, I know this is a ridiculous question before I ask it, but have you kept up with your samurai skills at all? He's like, I hawked that thing.
Yeah,
it's just fantastic. So yeah, that was my little fucking. I had to say that at the start of this conversation because for me, this is why I love number 2 so much.
The dialogue boner.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And in part, you hit the nail on the head. This is the Tarantino dialogue in this one compared to the first. You don't get much of it in the first. You do, but not to the degree that I feel like we're used to that you get in the second part.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. What how about you, Max?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's sort of like it's like a hard line to walk because are they one movie? Are they two movies? I guess they're technically two movies, so you kind of have to look at that. But then it's hard because they like each volume has something the other one doesn't in a sense. So it's hard to like, what do you care? Like, you kind of need both. So it's like, yeah, you guys are right. Now that I'm listening, you guys talk about it. Yeah, volume 2. I always felt like volume 1 was the action, volume 2 is the story.
Yeah,
and that's sort of how I looked at things. I remember in the first volume episode that we just recorded. I remember like back then when my parents rented this from Blockbuster, like back when I was a kid. I remember my mom saying that she much preferred volume 1. She's like, I think volume 1 is like I hear them talking, the adults talking about the movie. She's like, no, volume 1 has the better music and stuff. And I feel like pace wise, I much prefer volume 1. Like, I don't think they're like, just that one hospital scene is like a little dragging. This stuff has like volume 2, in my opinion, it's necessary, the story. And so it's kind of like a half complaint, half like whatever, but it's necessary, the story, but it drags a lot. Even like the early chapters before, like, yeah, like him working at that titty bar and shit. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting for that moment I'm waiting for her to finally arrive at his trailer and for her, and that whole sequence. I love that part of it, and then following the training montage flashback with Pai Mei, and then the fight between El Driver, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The final confrontation is interesting between the bride Beatrix and Bill. It's like it is more talky than I thought the final showdown would have been. You would think that they would have like, this would be the fight to shut down all the other fights, but it's
the shortest fight.
It is the shortest fight.
There's
it's
so
very,
little
very
actual
simple.
violence. It's just the 5-finger punch.
Yeah,
it's the long goodbye.
She totally like takes him out like almost kind of nothing, kind of in a way. But he does have that. David Carradine, I don't know how much we actually talked about his actual performance. He really did nail it as Bill. Like, his presence, his menace, his voice. It's the delivery, the monologue about the whole Superman. I never looked at Superman in that context before, but it's so interesting to think about it. It's like, like Clark Kent is sort of like Superman's critique of humanity, and like he kind of sees like humans as like weak and unsure of themselves. And it's like, I know you never really look at Superman like that, but this is like why Tarantino is so good at writing this sort of like pointed dialogue about pop culture that makes you look at stuff at a totally new perspective. but yeah, so that's if we're looking at it as two different movies. If you look at it as one movie, yeah, my favorite scenes of the entire saga is the House of the Blue Leaves and then the Pai Mei training montage. But I think I like the House of the Blue Leaves part more. So I guess that's sort of like my answer is like which one is better. I think I like Volume 1 a bit more. And me personally, when it comes to action movies, it's often the case that action movies don't really have a good story. I think this has a really good story because it is coming from a great writer like Tarantino. But having said that, when I watch an action movie, I want action more than anything. Like I just want good choreographed action. And not to go on like a little bit of a tangent, maybe Julie will appreciate this because I know she's a video gamer. Like for example, the Uncharted video games. Like I don't know if you guys have dabbled in those. Anyone here?
I haven't played it, but I've seen gameplay.
So like in the Uncharted games, there's story, there's like the puzzle thing of it, like you're like in the mines or whatever, and you're like, and then there's like the shooting part, like where you kill the bad guys. I only care about the shooting part. That's what like gets me off. Like all this other shit, I don't care about. Like get that shit out of here. I just want to like gun
like
down
playing
like
Splinter Cell,
100,
but not
like
being sneaky, like just shooting everybody.
Yeah, fuck that. Like I just want to like blaze through like 1,000 Indonesian pirates or wherever the villains are in those shits. Like that's what I mean. Like when it comes to the action, when I'm in an action movie mode, that's what I want more than anything. And so I think Volume 1 scratched that itch more than Volume 2 for me.
I mean, I used to feel that I've changed my opinion over time too. By the way, I did used to think Volume 1 was better, and I will say it definitely. It's also like 20 something minutes shorter than the second part. Like I think,
Volume 2 is
that
longer.
does make a difference, right?
It does,
as well,
it does,
because it's a much breezier film. I mean, the fact that it's only an hour and like 45 minutes, I think the first one, or an hour and 50 minutes, something like
right?
that.
Yeah.
It's not that long, like especially even for a Tarantino film, right? I mean, it's interesting that they made them separate the films back in the day, which I think is it makes sense that they did it the way they did it for like, to bring in more money and everything else. And the fact that it's 4 hours total, but like by today's standards, that's like a Scorsese film in the theater.
It was something interesting that I saw that Tarantino was getting like shorter movies before then. He did this as a two-parter, and then movies that he put out after that started getting longer and longer, and now he's like pushing 3 hours. Yeah,
which is like the norm now for a lot of the big films that come out.
Right.
And I think now we're in a place where we need to kind of get away from that a little bit, because I think people are forgetting that an hour and a half, 2 hour, just under 2 hour film is still serviceable and a great, you could still make a really great tight film, and you don't have to do three. Sometimes some of these movies are not necessary for them to be like 3 hours nowadays. And I feel this is something we talk about a lot on this show. Or on late night letterbox when we talk about movies for that matter. But this is a big epic. Like this makes sense that it should have been this long. Yeah. He had a lot of story to tell, and like this is an epic. He wanted to make this an epic, so to make it an epic, to divide it in two films, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like I actually, the more I think about it, I do like that they chose to do it that way. But Tarantino considers it one film, so we got to look at it through that lens as well, right?
I mean, Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair exists for people who want to see it in one sitting, so you can kind of get the best of both worlds. You can see it the way it was released, or you could see it the way it was intended, I guess.
But even by his scale of I'm only making this many movies, this is not 4 and 5.
No, it's just 4. Exactly.
So I gotta respect that about it, right? Like he envisions it as just the one, and they chose that was more of a studio decision. I feel like, right, more so.
I guess if you look at it like this, if Kill Bill, like both Volume 1 and Volume 2, is like a roller coaster ride, like the Kill Bill Volume 1 is like the high peak, like when you get the very highest of the peak and you get all those bumps and shit, and then Volume 2 is like when you circle back and the roller coaster stops so that they can like load the train in front of you so that it can. That's what Volume 2 is. It's just you're just kind of like chilling and okay, this is cool, and then you get it. Like that's how I feel. Like I would have. I know the story is really necessary, but I would have been so down if Volume 2 was just more of like Uma Thurman chopping people off and shit like that. I don't know. Like I would have been so like in for that too.
Yeah. How about you, Julie? Do you have an opinion on whether liking one or over the other? Since we're here.
I think it's hard for me to untangle one from the other at this point. Just like having just watched it and just having experienced it as one kind of saga, it's sort of hard for me to to untangle the wires, I think. But I do see. I guess I'm leaning more towards Max's point of like part one. It's hard though. It's hard to sort of pick one for me, I guess, because I do appreciate the storytelling elements of part two, but you can't have part two without part one. So it's like it's hard for me to sort of to separate the two, I think. But
I mean, the way I see it is like, because I've seen these movie a couple times now, like each part maybe like 3 or 4 times now.
yeah.
Like the opening of Volume 2 where it shows the wedding, that's necessary. Like you need to tell that story. But I like waiting for those parts to end now. Like when I watch this, like I don't really care about those parts anymore. Like honestly, I just want the action. Like that's like my own selfish kind of mind. That's kind of the way I look at it. I want the coffin breaking scene, and I want the Pai Mei sequence, and like I'm just kind of in my mind waiting for that. Huh?
Sorry to interrupt you. If I want to compare the
ahead.
action between the two movies, I would say number 1 did seem to have just more action, but number 2 felt like it had like a little bit more technical action. Like the fight scenes were like a bit more creative. Like they went in certain ways with them rather than just being fight. So like in that, I did enjoy the action almost as much because like it was like the fight scene when they're fighting in the trailer and they can like barely get the sword out of the sheath because it's such a small like that's just so cool to me. Like they did a lot of that kind of stuff in 2 versus 1.
That too. Yeah. I mean it, but if we're comparing it for comparison's sake, the fight in the first one is the best fight.
It's such an epic fight.
It is, but I agree with him that it is close still. My enjoyment of the fights in this one because, like he just mentioned, the trailer fight. I love the close quarters trailer fight and how it ended of her plucking the eye
a great
out.
fight.
When he plucks the eye out and you see her flailing in the fucking background, all messed up, like you fucking bitch, bro. She's like tearing stuff around. I was that's such a great part. She just gets up and like squishes the eye and just leaves.
Oh yeah,
dude, Volume 1 had super goofy moments, but I think Volume 2 has the most goofiest moment when Daryl Hannah does like a flying kick. And then Uma Thurman just grabs her and throws her against the wall. Like, what the fuck is
I definitely laughed at that
like,
too. I'll
like,
be honest.
I was just laughing. It's just like,
or the part where Pai Mei he jumps on the sword and fucking boots her in the fucking. That's
Oh yes, that was amazing.
From up here, you can see a good view of my foot.
Yeah, toss the beard.
Pai Mei is also a huge reason why I like this.
Pai Mei is awesome.
So good.
Pai Mei is effing awesome. Yeah. It's great you have like 2 like what's the word? Mentors, I guess. You have Hattori Hanzo in Volume 1, and then you have like the Pai Mei, and so it's like the samurai and the kung fu shit. Like I love it. Like,
even being for like somebody who's not as educated on like kung fu films, though, I could like the way he approached that. It's definitely what I would think of that kind of stuff, though. And also the way he's talking, it almost sounds like it's dubbed. Like the words wouldn't be with the voice, like the mouth wouldn't be
Eagle
like,
style versus
just
my
this whole thing where he's like,
style.
the way he laughs every time. Like I just love that. I just like, wow, this guy's the best. Like and he like the flicking of the beard all the time. Yeah, it's just a fantastic character.
Well, there's like a fun fact. So the guy that plays Pai Mei is the same actor that plays Johnny Mo.
That's
the leader of the Crazy 88 in Volume 1.
Oh, interesting.
But in the Pai Mei scene, he's actually speaking what was it, Cantonese or whatever. That's his actual voice. But Tarantino was gonna dub it over with his own voice, with Tarantino's voice. So it would have been like those old kung fu movies where they're like speaking English.
That would have been really funny. We would have been talking about that as a great time.
Maybe insulting to them or something if he did.
No, I don't know. I guess he liked his performance, so he kept the original language in.
But it's funny you see that because even though it's not like that, I've never heard that before. That is what I envision of that scene, though.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's just like. This is what the Westerners think
of kung fu.
That's why I like it so fucking much. Like that's
why that's so believable.
What's that?
I said that's just why what Max said is so believable. Like I have not heard that too, but I had not heard either. But then when he just said it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense.
Perfect sense. Yeah. Because like that's yeah, it's just that whole part is great too, right? So that's why. But like I said, I can't say it. I don't know why. I just love the Michael Madsen parts in this.
I love
movie.
Michael Madsen.
Yeah,
I can't say a bad word about him.
He's great in this movie, though. It's honestly my favorite.
He's great in every movie, honestly.
He isn't overacting in this movie, though.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't,
he's supernatural.
Sometimes some of his stuff feels forced. As much as I love him, like he's just very natural in this one. Yeah, like he just doesn't have a care in the world. And like you said, Parth, about the fact that he used to be a badass, but yet he's not really wearing that like on his sleeve anymore, right? He's kind of like defeated in this film. Like I like he's a washed up drunk. Like he plays that perfectly. Like he conveys all of that without even kind of talking about it, right? And that's why that part is so telling when you see the Hattori Hanzo sword like in the back that he had it.
It's 808 in a closet.
Yeah.
You hawked the Hattori Hanzo sword?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like it was priceless, not in El Paso.
Right.
In El Paso got me $250. Amazing.
Bouncer at a titty bar, Bill.
The other great part too, though, you can tell he still has reverence for it, though, is when he's describing it to El. Where it's like, when you compare a Hattori Hanzo sword, you have to compare it to every other sword. Like you can tell, like he has still respect and love for that thing.
That's what I loved in 1 and 2. Just the reverence for the sword. That was like so cool to me.
Right. Yeah, and then he broke the oath, the blood oath that he took 20 years in his years. So
Dap sure know how to hold a grudge, right?
Yeah, I love that.
And he just chuckles. Yeah, he's like, "Oh man, yeah." Good stuff, man. Yeah.
She doesn't really use the sword that much. I mean, I guess like, besides the that Daryl Hannah fight between her and Elle, she doesn't really use the sword that much in this movie. I don't think.
Not in this one, but I mean,
really.
it's like a kind of like showing where the sword came from, since they used it so much in 1, and it was such a big thing in 1.
Mm-hmm.
Straight cutting other swords in half as she's fighting the 88.
This one also, I think, leans more into the Western too, like the Western sort of vibe of it. But like in the location they're in, and somewhere in
stuff. Yeah, where El Paso, wherever the hell they are.
I think that's California.
Yeah.
I think,
Okay.
So, but like California has desert and shit too, right? So,
I think El Paso's Texas.
And then
is it actually okay?
And then she ends up in Mexico at the end with Bill, right? That's in Mexico, I believe.
I believe so too. Yeah.
Right, because that's where she goes to see her father figure. Another Michael
Parks. Who kills it, by the way? He's not even Mexican,
he's
and he
great.
Does it.
Well, Michael Parks is one of our finest character actors, though.
He's amazing.
He died a few years ago now, I believe, but he's really good. He was in a bunch of the Kevin Smith movies too, actually. Yeah, it's a different character.
The pussy died.
Yeah. Oh, Bill.
Bill is like a son to me, right? Where is Bill?
And you're just like smoking that, like
the little holder, yeah.
There's that woman with the flip. Ugh.
Yeah, oh, you know what? Something that was so weird to me in that scene is that okay, maybe I'm misremembering. Did he pay for the drink? Why did he pay for the drink? Why would he in any world pay for that drink?
The pimp?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
I swear he pulled out some coins, and that just like felt weird to me.
I was
like, why would he be pulling out money?
Real pimps don't pay for their
that's what I'm saying. Unrealistic.
Maybe
he knew that, like, she would have like chopped him in half. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was just a tip. I don't know.
Julie, how about you though? Likes, dislikes. What do you got for us? Is this your
nothing super specific about part 1, part 2. Like it's all mixed together in my notes. But to call back to a point that Max was making earlier about just like comparing it to video games and like fuck all the storyline bullshit like that. It's funny that you make that comparison because all of the games that I like are narrative driven.
No, I like narrative driven games too, but I like the narrative like informs the action kind of thing. Like the narrative makes the action better, and that's what I like the most. But
I think that, I mean, I guess, I don't know. Like, I would think that The Last of Us is up there with like my favorite games, right? And it's largely about the narrative and not as much about the action.
See, meanwhile, I'm playing like Devil May Cry where you just infinite people.
Yeah, like you need good action to get good story, and good story to make the action feel. It's kind of like you need both.
Yeah,
it really is. It's like music and lyrics, really. Like
True. Yeah, it was just a point I was going to make to that earlier.
This movie is like a video game, really. Like the
Kinda.
way like she has to like beat each boss to get to the
Right.
next, and like the Bill is the final boss,
Or
if
like
you
an
will.
anime, like he was
Or
saying.
an
Yeah,
anime,
right.
or,
Yeah,
or even
super.
like I feel like maybe this formula all came from those martial arts movies, like
Yeah.
those old Bruce Lee movies and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I do have one complaint about this. It's actually about both movies.
Yeah.
About Kill
Okay.
Bill, and I don't know if this is gonna like break the thing, or if you guys are gonna agree with me or not. But I feel like obviously this movie, like as a whole, Kill Bill, is about revenge, right? Like the consequences of revenge and stuff, and how revenge is like a cyclical nature almost. How revenge causes more revenge. How, remember, like she kills Vivica, and then the daughter is seeing that kind of thing, and that's gonna maybe inspire her to be a hateful person.
Right.
They show Oren's origin, which is also laced in revenge as well, like how her parents got murdered and stuff like that, and how that turned her into the person that she was. But I feel like beyond that, I feel like this movie wasn't, in my opinion, the flaw of this movie is that it wasn't that profound, I feel like, about the real damaging effect of revenge, in the sense that nowhere in this story does it feel like the bride is doing anything that's wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole time, the way she's killing everybody, it's like, yeah, she's supposed to be doing this. Never does she ever like question like, oh, am I going too far with this? Or is it like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have like, and the reason I say that specifically is because the ending line in Volume 1, when Hattori Hanzo is like, revenge is never a straight line. You can get lost in the forest, or whatever. And I question, did that actually ever happen to Uma Thurman's character at all in this story? Like, it was almost like, okay, I kill this guy, now I gotta kill this guy, now I gotta kill this guy, and then
a lot of what you're saying was touched on somewhat in Bill's final speech to conversation to her. He made her admit that she enjoyed all the killing, and that despite what he did, because he got a little upset in the moment and reacted in a very terrible way.
Just a little upset.
Yeah. He wanted her to admit, if she stayed with you in your life, he's basically was saying to her, you can't run from your past and who you are, and you're a killer and you enjoy killing, and this whole life you created for yourself, it wasn't going to work out. That's what his point was, as far as I was concerned, right?
And it's an interesting thing on just talking about nurture versus nature, right? Because then now BB also just squished a goldfish. She did this like crazy behavior. And like, so where does this come from? Was this nurtured onto her from Bill? Is it natured onto her from both her bride and Bill? So there's definitely something there that got me thinking a little bit.
I always looked at it as almost like I think like innately human beings and even children are violent, at their core and stuff. Like, how like kids will like fuck around with their pets or whatever and stuff like that, and who knows where that comes from. But I mean, the thing is like, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like narratively, was the revenge really that messy for the bride? Like, in a way, like, did she ever like have any sort of second guessing of the revenge, or was it just all just like A to Z kind of for her? Like, you know what I mean? Like, am I making any sense with this point?
I think so. Yeah. I think like she kind of knew, like, even if it wasn't just the revenge she was getting from what they did to her, I think she may have also been, and maybe I'm just putting thoughts into her head, maybe she was thinking about all the people they've killed and being like, I know that these people that I'm killing are super evil people. And so I guess like you're kind of saying, who is she to make that judgment? But maybe in her head she was like, this is why I do it, and this is why I just keep killing without second thought until I get to my goal, which is get to my child.
It's funny. It's funny. Julie just mentioned The Last of Us, and the part 2 especially. I think that was like a revenge story told very well, as far as like Ellie kind of like coming to grips to how much revenge is like, she's losing her own humanity in the process of her revenge quest. And I feel like I've seen interviews where there's this hilarious interview where Tarantino talks to this one critic about Kill Bill, and she's like, there's so much violence. Why is there violence in it? And he's like, because it's so much fun. Did you ever see that?
No.
It's a very, very famous interview, and he's just basically saying like, revenge is a messy quest, and revenge is like, it never turns out how you want it to. And then I'm like, but in this movie, it turns out exactly how she wants it to. and the revenge wasn't really like I'm mentioning that Hattori Hanzo line when he's like, "Oh, revenge is never a straight line." It kind of was for her. Like she just went from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, like killed this guy, killed this guy. That's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like it makes sense, but I feel like on a deeper level, I don't think it nailed the intention. I think
Yeah, they didn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah, in a way, like it didn't say anything really deep about revenge,
Right.
other than the cyclical nature of her creating more revenge through her victims. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, in a way, they just were both very flawed characters at the end of the day, though, and as well, right? Like, I mean, I think that was, like I said, like I think that was revealed a bit in that ending speech, is that they just made poor choices. But I think the only point I feel like they were trying to make is that there was a reasoning behind what Bill did, what he did. That's the only point I got out of it, was that she broke his heart and he fucking reacted away. And that,
Right.
but you're right. But on her whole quest, in terms of the revenge aspect of it, does that really hit the mark? Maybe not. I agree with you. Maybe you're actually bringing up a good point. I get where you're going with that. I don't know.
That's just the one flaw
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like, as far as the overarching narrative. I wouldn't have felt that way had that line Hattori Hanzo said about you'll get lost in the forest, and like she never gets lost in the forest. Maybe she does get down. Bud puts her in the coffin.
Let me pose
you know?
this question to you, though. Was that reflective throughout the other characters in the film?
About revenge being
About the way that they went about it, because Elle was a very greedy, conniving person. It was really right, like the way that the fate befell all those other people in the movie, though.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And like they're the ones that caused their own revenge, basically, because they did this to her.
Maybe it was more of a commentary on the other people that aren't strong enough to see this through. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just exploring.
No, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
I don't know, like, because all those characters, they went about it, I feel like, in very different ways, right? Their success after or not success after this whole killing, right? That's why I liked Michael Madsen too, because he was like, we deserve to die for what we did. He's like, he was the only one that acknowledged that they maybe fucked up by doing this. Everybody else was just like, I'm the best assassin in the world now. I'm gonna, Elle just wanted the Hattori Hanzo sword. Like all of them, the other ones all just went about their business. Michael Madsen clearly didn't go the way that he had hoped it did, like the rest of them. And he was the only one, though, that acknowledged, I feel like, out of all of them, that like this is what we did, that was bad, and we she deserves to kill us, like that, right? Like, but I like that whole speech that he says. I'll save it for quotes, but I just he was the only one that seemed to be self-aware of that out of the whole group, and Bill too. Bill too, yeah. But everybody else just didn't give a shit.
That's what I was gonna say for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Parth.
No, I was gonna say I'm so bad at remembering their names, but the Copperhead, the first one, she was she kind of didn't apologize. She did get herself away from it all, and she was like trying to just be like, it's all behind us. True. But she never was necessarily like regretful of it, like Bud was. So definitely, I see that for sure.
I guess I was gonna save this for unanswerable questions or whatever, but because you just mentioned it, like, deep down, did Bud and Bill want like Beatrix to like accomplish her revenge and kill everybody and stuff? Like,
I think yes, dude. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I have that written down where it's like, why would he put her in that grave? Why would he give her the flashlight? Like, why? There's so many things. Like they're all just like these expert assassins, but they like messed up. I mean, even Copperhead missing that shot in the beginning, like when she's got the quick shot out of the cereal. Like, I don't know. There were so many of those, like, oh, she got so lucky there. Like, she shouldn't have lived there. It almost makes you think, did these people like kind of want her there? Especially Bud, like leaving her the flashlight and like.
I mean, even in the hospital when Elle is about to poison the bride, and Bill calls and says, "We're not going to." I'm like,
pressed the syringe before, right? Like,
aren't you effing assassins? Now you have like a compass about what to do. Like, what the hell?
I think it's more to speak to like just like they knew, like, I think it's more about their spiritual kind of side, in the sense that like they're like, in terms of like karma or something. I felt like they understood that she deserved a chance at redemption.
That makes sense,
right? I don't think it's that they wanted her to kill, because but
Right.
fought back, and so did Bill. Like they
Right.
both tried to kill her, but you're right. They did give her opportunities as well, right?
Couldn't Bill have shot her when he
Yeah.
tranked her with the gun?
Yeah,
like
even
could've just
before he
blew
pulled
her
out the
head
gun
off
and
right
shot
there.
right past her, right?
But
Like to show
then
her
he
that he
wouldn't
could
have had closure.
Yeah.
He needed the closure from her at that moment, because he said that the reason he shot her with that trank, he's like, I know you would just lie probably to me, but I need to know these answers to what happened, right? Like that's why I really like the structure of the last scene. But as a scene at the end of an action film, the way that this revenge story went, it was very off, which is I think a good thing. It's not what you would expect. Right, but I think that you might not like the ending as a result of that.
You know
right?
what? Despite all my complaints I said earlier, I do actually think the final confrontation works, especially because she did use the 5-point palm explosion, which they teased earlier in the movie.
Time.
Right.
So they finally paid
it's a
it off.
callback. It's
a great call. It is a great
call.
And
he's like, he taught you the fight. And she's like, yeah. Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
Does that make me a terrible person?
Yeah, you're not a terrible person. You're my favorite person. That's one of my favorite quotes of the thing. That's great. It's great
great
but it
stuff.
does kind of make you a cunt.
We didn't talk about it in part 1. But what is that line that he says at the start where he's like, "Do you find me sadistic or whatever?"
Yeah,
so
me
bad,
and my most masochistic.
Yeah.
Because you just hear his gravelly voice, you don't actually see it.
He has a great voice, David Carradine. He's perfect.
Great voice.
Such a good voice that he could just be a voice for Volume 1, and it's effective. Like you don't see him at all or whatever, right? So
that's great.
Yeah.
I guess should we get into, unless anybody else any like major likes or dislikes, should we get into scenes and all that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know, Julie, Parth, when you guys want to start?
The whole interaction scene between the bride and the retired pimp guy, that whole sequence is really fun.
Esteban.
Yes, I really liked that whole interaction where he's like talking about like she would have been the top girl or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I guess I'm flattered." And he's like, "You fucking should be."
Yeah. Top praise from a pimp.
I'll tell you where he is. He would want me to tell you.
Dude, when he orders the drink, I don't know what he's like, Carla.
Yeah.
He does that.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Oh, it's awesome stuff.
I also like this too with the smoke. He's like, what do you say?
Where is Bill?
He does everything with such a flourish. There's so many like flourishy characters in the second part, like fucking Pai Mei, everything with the beard. Like there's so much.
Sam Jackson is in this shit too. It's
for a second he just pops up. That just like confirms the multi-universe theory where it's like these characters. Yeah.
Well, also just his love for Samuel Jackson, because apparently I think I heard him talk about this before. Samuel Jackson, it was one of those conflicts where like he couldn't shoot the movie or he didn't have a part for him. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, "Yeah, do you want this small part?" Like he basically just like harassed him to like let him come on and just do a small part.
Come on, come do a cameo.
Yeah. Well, he loves working with him, right? So I mean,
I think I saw something. It was the other day where when Tarantino was writing the script, when he was writing Bill, all he could hear was Sam Jackson. So I'm thinking to myself, it would have been kind of cool. I mean, David Carradine killed it, but it would have been kind of cool to see Sam Jackson as Bill too. I think that would have been.
Kung Fu, motherfucker! You speak it.
I wrote down like that the pregnancy test sequence with the other assassin.
Yeah.
When she's,
yeah.
That's such a good throwaway scene, though. Like it's not even needed at that point of the film, and it's such a good scene. Yeah, I agree.
I even like when Max was talking about like like the whole revenge, like the cyclical revenge thing, and I was like trying to figure out like if there was any element of that scene that kind of played to that point, but it's kind of before she is on the revenge journey at all, so it doesn't really fit. Like, because I was like, well, she kind of does like come off the whole like I'm a fucking assassin shit because she's like I have a kid involved now, but it's kind of before she has any reason to want revenge. So it didn't really work. But I was trying to figure out like if that at all played against that point, but not really.
I mean, one of the like major motifs of this movie that I was thinking besides revenge was like motherhood, and I think that definitely is one of the big motherhood scenes where
Yeah.
she's kind of like just realizing it and like kind of in this crazy mind state because of it. Because like obviously she could have just killed her, right? Like there were times where the shotgun assassin was kind of like wavering and like reading the box while
Yeah.
she's like, holding the gun up. Like obviously she could have just blasted her in the head. But like so that showed where like she did care about this suddenly. Like it's now like this is a new thing. I have to recalibrate how I think, how I act, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pretty good with that shotgun. Not that I have to be at this range, but I'm a fucking surgeon with
Shotgun
this
surgeon.
shotgun.
Yeah. I
Badass
love that line. I've used that in so much gaming all day.
Yeah.
I just love the bit where she's like, the door closes and she's still aiming through the hole, and then she's like, "Congratulations!" and she just disappears.
I don't know who that actress is, but she's really good because she's doing a lot of shit just with her eye movements and like keeping one eye on her and like
right.
Very good stuff. Yeah, she they both did a really good job in that scene. Yeah, I really
That whole banter where she was like, "It's on the box," and she was like, "I can fucking read. Just give me a minute." Like, yeah. I'll read it for myself. Thank you very much.
But that was even explained during that whole end sequence with Bill when she's explaining how it got to that point. So they're like throwing in all this other stuff at the end. It's not just her and Bill talking. They're throwing like past occurrences, scenes, that whole scene. They're talking, there's a whole scene leading up to that with her kind of finally meeting her daughter, which is good. Like it's a good scene, but like, so there's a lot. There's that whole how long is that? Did anybody track that? It's like had to be like half an hour. That
it was at least half an hour.
Yeah. That's why I said it's a little long, but it's all good stuff in there.
Yeah, the Superman quote happens.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, it's all good stuff. Yeah.
That whole like manipulative interruption of like, "Oh, here's your kid. Guess you can't kill me right now." Like that whole banter. I'm like, oh my god, imagine.
So high tension.
You're the best, or whatever. She like has to fall and pretend like she's dead. Yeah. She said they said that you were the best, or something like that. I forgot what she says. Yeah. You have anything else, Julie?
I wrote down. I didn't write down the whole monologue bit of the comic books because I knew that you would. So my favorite part of that is just when she like interrupts him to be like, "How long does this shit take to go into effect?" And he was like, "About 2 minutes, just long enough for me to finish my point."
Yeah,
you might feel a slight euphoria.
Yeah.
You
How
feel
long?
the euphoria? No.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah. Apparently this guy's like a master chemist on the side as well. He concocted his truths here.
Yeah, I saw some movie theory that was saying that like he concocted the poison that was supposed to kill her too, and it had like some specific name. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. They were saying that's just something he did.
Oh, like from the first part, like in the hospital.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
Okay.
Just fan theories, I'm sure, but they tickle the brain right.
How about you, Parth? The scenes, quotes, anything you want to mention?
Let's see. I just have Buddy holding the mace up to her. That was like a really tense scene. Just like there's mace right in her eye, and you like thinking about that and like how much that would suck. Like that was a good scene, high tension. Let's see. Just like all the 1-inch punch stuff, I was loving. Just the Bruce Lee, or Jackie Chan. I can't recall who did that a lot, but yeah, that was amazing. And then that made me think of something too. While she was punching herself out of the grave, I saw that's just self-care. I don't know if you guys are Mac Miller fans. There's a music video for self-care.
I am a Mac Miller fan, but I don't think I've ever seen that video.
Bro, go back and watch the music video for self-care, because the whole music video is just him like getting himself out of a grave, having a flashlight in there, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually just a whole Kill Bill homage. Yeah. So that was just something I was thinking about while I was watching that scene. Other scenes that stood out to me. I was just obsessed with the foot count. I was like, I wasn't drinking while we were watching it, but it was like an internal drinking game. Like drink every time I see a foot. And so like it was, when she was in the grave, there's a scene where she takes the razor out of her boots, and I was like, oh man, even in her like lowest point, he still gets a foot shot in.
Yeah.
Another foot shot that stood out to me was Bud put his dirty ass feet up on the bag that's gonna eventually kill him, like the snake and the money are in. Oh wait, are we not supposed to spoilers? Oops. but
There's plenty already. We're good.
Yeah.
But like he just has his disgusting feet up on that bag, and I was like, oh man, even nasty guy's feet. Come on.
Oh, there you
just
go.
Remember at that one point when I was like, I think it was Elle's boot. Like there just seems to be this lingering shot on like her boot, and I was like,
Yeah.
does that count? Is that part of his thing?
Well, I actually really like the shot, but even when they meet each other at the church, her and Bill, it keeps cutting to their
Yep.
feet
Their
walking.
Yep,
feet
yep. And they walk
walking
closer and
together.
closer together. It's really
Which I think
intense, but yeah.
A great shot. Yeah. Not to say that was a
Mhm.
feet thing, but just we were
Mhm.
talking about. we were
But
talking
is
about
it?
feet,
But
right?
is it?
Yeah.
Is it all part of it?
Well, yeah.
I think that was like their symbolic wedding in the sense like they were kind of coming together
Getting closer. Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they even
like
she
that.
even kisses him.
Right.
Remember before she actually goes back to like her fake
Right.
husband or whatever, like that.
But then, yeah, like she kisses him in the wedding hall, like in front of everybody else. That was a little weird, but yeah.
It's okay.
That
it's
is
the dad,
my
right?
one beef.
Passionate dad kiss, yeah.
That's my one beef, I think, with part 2 is I was like, she just told all these people that was her dad, and she keeps open mouth kissing him in the church.
But I mean, from their POV, they don't know if she kissed him on the lips or on the cheek or whatever.
True.
They just
I
need, like,
guess.
heads, right? Like,
I think it's a
God
dirty move
knows.
too that like Bill pretended that he was like cool with it, and then he just proceeds to kill her like 2
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
he's a murdering bastard.
He's like,
as
you
you
don't
said.
owe me a damn thing. If that's who you want, you go stand by him. And then he like just stood there. "Yeah, I'm just gonna watch." Then all 4 of the other assassins just roll in. Right? I was like, oh no.
Right? And even it's sick because he even like basically makes her believe that he's actually going to be there for her
Yes.
too. Like
Yes.
like things are cool. Okay, he's gonna be on my side.
It's
Not a
also-
lot of people are on your side. Not
Right.
even Bill, I guess.
Right. It's even
Yeah.
funny because, like, you know, like the fact that she introduced him as her father, I'm sure he wasn't like crazy about.
Right.
either.
There's,
Like,
there's friend zone and there's dad zone.
yeah.
That's head zone.
Anything else, Part? Scenes or
Let's see. Just like when the name finally gets revealed, I know we brought that up in 1, but like that was like such a big deal. I was,
Oh my god! In the classroom,
yeah,
that was
just
such a funny
finally,
way of showing that.
right. And then I later I was looking into something about that, and I noticed that some hyper nerd found that that's not actually the first time it's revealed. When she's flying to Japan, that like zooms in on her boarding pass, and you actually do see her name there. Yeah, which is interesting. I missed that completely, but yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look for that next time.
Yeah. Just shout out to Pai Mei dialogue, so good, unbelievable. Another little subtitle thing. Julie and I were watching the stream, like it didn't have subtitles at first for that scene as well, and I was like, no, we have to rewatch this with subtitles because this is too important to miss. His dialogue is amazing. Yeah, so good.
I have a Pai Mei line written down.
Yeah, what you got?
It's the wood that should fear your hand, not the other way around. No wonder you can't do it. You acquiesce to defeat before you even begin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, my favorite line of his is what I said earlier, where he's like, "Oh, from up here, you can see a good view of my foot." And then he kicks her in the face.
Another foot shot.
Yeah.
Did you guys? This is so off topic, but did you guys see that? I think it was like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, where a fan met Tarantino and asked him if she could sign her foot,
And he does.
and he
Yeah,
does.
I've seen that.
I'm like, that's like the weirdest shit you could ask someone, and he's like so on board with
he's
it.
past embracing it at this point. He's admitted that he has the foot fetish, right?
Can you imagine asking Tarantino to sign your foot though? Like,
Yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, it's a cool moment, right? You would tell everybody that. She has video footage of
yeah,
it.
exactly. Can you sign my foot?
Yeah.
Please? He's like, your foot.
He
Okay.
laughs though. He pauses, laughs. He's like, "Yeah, all right."
This just reminded me, because we were on the name thread, do you think that the whole like Beatrix Kiddo thing, is that like maybe a Western reference, like a whole Billy the Kid bit?
Ooh,
Mm.
Oh, I never thought about that. Maybe.
me either.
Bill and
Yeah.
Bud, right? Too.
Yeah, maybe. See,
I
that's
don't know
the
why.
thing.
Yeah, I just thought of it.
This is all derived from somewhere. Like, this all comes
Mhm.
from somewhere. A lot of this shit that he does, right? Which I know is like some people's criticism about him, but I don't think like he still is able to take all that and create his own stuff out of like lovable homages to things he also enjoys. And I think as a result, it actually helps people discover these things for the first time, like you were talking about before. Like, it's actually, I think it's a good thing, his love
It
of
makes watching his movies like a fucking scavenger hunt, kind of.
Mhm.
Like,
but then you hear about like what inspired certain things, and then it's actually made me appreciate other things as a result. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good thing. That's what I mean. I don't think it's a bad thing. And then we've talked about this on the show before. Sometimes when people do it, they do it in a shitty way. I don't feel like he does it in a shitty way. Like, there's sometimes where people are so on the nose with certain stuff that you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. His stuff, like, it's so, like, there's so many references I don't get and I still am learning about to this day. I think it's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Especially when people rip off him, it's so tacky.
Right.
Like when you see some shit and you go like, wow, this guy just wants to be Tarantino. Like,
right.
You know?
So I got this whole speech of like I said, one of my favorite scenes is Michael Madsen there when he what's his name, Bud, right?
Bud,
when he goes to meet up with Bill,
Sidewinder.
When Bill comes to see him because he's like, oh yeah, she's gonna come kill you. And I just wrote down the whole exchange here. We already said some of it, but he's like, you're telling me she cut her way at 388 bodyguards before she got to her. No, there wasn't really 88 of them. They just called themselves the Crazy 88. He's like, how come? I don't know. I guess they thought it sounded cool. And then he's like, anyhow, they all fell under her Hanzo sword. She got a Hanzo sword? He made one for her. Didn't he swear a blood oath to never make another sword? It would appear he has broken it. That's what he's like. Them Japs sure know how to hold a grudge, don't they? Or maybe they just tend to bring, or maybe you just tend to bring that out in people. And then this is one of my favorite lines that he's written in this whole movie. I don't know why, just the way he arranges the words, like the way he says this sentence. He's like, I know this is a ridiculous question before I ask it, and then he just proceeds to ask it. I just think it's really great writing on Tarantino part.
Absolutely.
But you haven't by any chance kept up with any of your swordplay. I pawned that years ago. You hawked a Hatari Hanzo sword? Yep, it was priceless. Not in El Paso it ain't, and El Paso got me $250 for it. I'm a bouncer in a titty bar, Bill. If she wants to fight with me, all she's got to do is come down to the club and start some shit, and we'll be in a fight. I love that, man. And then the best quote, when he says that she's coming to kill you, he stares silently into the camera, Michael Madsen. He like zooms up with the camera to his face, and he's like, "That woman deserves her revenge. We deserve to die." And then he laughs, and he's like, "Then again, so does she." so I guess we'll just see. Like, he's trying to like make him sound so wise in that moment.
Yeah, and he delivers that perfectly because he's like kind of stumbling into making it wise, like.
Yeah.
And so then we'll see. Like, he's figuring out on his own, like, as he's saying it. Yeah.
Won't we? And then he just does this. He's like,
like super proud of himself. Oh yeah, I guess
he's accepted his fate, right? He's just like, whatever. I mean, I'll try my best, and he comes the closest to killing her. Honestly, I feel like out of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. He could have killed her. There's so many of the
for sure.
Too, actually.
That's what's so sad. That he just fucking gets killed by Elle with that snake. That's awesome too. When it bites the shit out of his face.
Yeah.
He's sitting there like dying.
Yeah.
She pulls out that notepad and reads off like what the black mamba venom does to you.
Right.
How about you, Max?
I think white women call this the silent treatment or something.
Oh, yeah.
they think we don't like it or some shit. Like, that was a funny ass line. I love that line. The final showdown between Elle and the bride, Beatrix, and they both have the Hanzo swords and shit. And she's like, "Oh, I get, you know." She's like, "I'm gonna kill you with your Hattori Hanzo, which in the immediate future will be my Hattori Hanzo sword." And then Uma Thurman's like, "Bitch, you don't have a future." And then fucking like takes that. That is the most badass line ever, bro. Like, yeah. And that music that kicks in, that's so perfect for that scene.
Also, the reveal. He's really good at reveals in this movie. The reveal about how she lost her eye in that moment is pretty sick too.
And then she reveals that she killed him too. She's like, and then it's
poison fish heads.
The poison, and then it's so overacted, but it's so perfectly overacted. She's like, "That's right, I killed your master." Yeah. It's so funny. And now I'm gonna.
I thought it
you,
was
right? Like,
it was a fitting way to get the revenge, right? Like, you know, Master got her eye, she killed Master. Now she gets to avenge her master by getting her other eye.
Yeah.
I think she's still with Neil Young. She's with Neil Young. She's like married to. I think.
Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
What?
No, I'm just saying. I think she is. Look it up because I'm pretty sure she's still.
I'll find out.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's another thing I like. My parents do or my sister will do. Like when we're watching something, they'll like.
She's married to fucking Neil Young.
They'll start bringing up like their people's real life spouses and shit. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's with." I'm like, oh, "Who gives it? Who cares who these people are fucking?"
Bro, that's such a Bollywood thing, dude. My parents do that too. It's like, "Oh, dude, that's the daughter of this guy. Oh my,
it's like, who gives a shit?
family's been acting for years."
It's like, can I just enjoy this movie? Who cares who's fucking who? They're probably gonna break up in a year anyways. Like,
I just thought that
move
was
on to another
because it's fucking Neil Young. Like that's really strange.
And it was like not that long ago. They got married in 2018.
Yeah. That's the only reason I brought that up.
No. I
didn't-
didn't mean it. I mean, I just in general when people do that, I just laugh.
Her film debut was in a Brian De Palma movie too.
Which one?
The Fury.
I haven't seen that. Okay, I haven't seen.
I remember
that one.
when she was in Wall Street when Charlie Sheen was tapping that.
She's
like,
hot.
yeah.
Yeah. Daryl Hannah.
And Blade Runner.
You want to know something? When I was younger and I watched this, I actually really liked that scene when they're fighting and they get like filthy dirty and like this because they're two like tall blondes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And
I like that.
She's kind of like her evil mirror in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's why
in
the
a
eye
sense,
patch is
you know?
such a sick like
Yeah.
addition to her character too.
Yeah.
Like it just looks awesome.
they're both blondes, but the bride is like more of like a good person in a sense.
Right. That's why that Palma split screen earlier in one is very much like that. Like one just being super evil and one just being like kind of calm and serene in her coma.
Yeah.
Because the part where they go to kick each other and their shoes get stuck and they get
both
pushed
fall
back.
down.
Yeah, I do like that stuff, and that's
Yeah.
So also I gotta give a quote out for the manager at the titty bar scene.
Oh God, that guy was crazy.
when Bud comes in, I don't know what car wash you worked at before you came here, who let you stroll in 20 minutes late, but it wasn't owned by me, and I own a fucking car wash.
I like that.
It's funny as fuck.
But he's like, what are you trying to convince me exactly that you're as useless as an asshole right here?
Weenus butt.
Yeah, I love that shit. And he's like, it's calendar time. You ready? You ready for this? Were you working tomorrow? No, you're not. You don't even know when you're fucking working. You were on Friday. You used to be there. He's all like coked out. He's like stretching. That used to be your name. And that hat, that fucking hat. Keep that shit kicker hat at home.
And he's just taking it too. He's not even resisting at all.
And then there's that girl. He's like, go speak to Rocket. She's got a job for you. He's like,
yeah.
All right, Rocket.
He takes it so much that he actually cleans shit on the way out after he knows he's not going to be working.
And, and he's going home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like that's, before you leave. No problem, Rocket.
That's just that he's so beaten. Like that. I think that whole scene is showing that this guy is pushed to rock bottom and is not pushing back to anything.
Right. Yeah, he's defeated here. I feel like Tarantino likes little kind of nicknames though. He gets off to that kind of shit like a lot. Like that. What is it? The first one, Bucket. I like the fuck or whatever.
Yeah, Buck.
Or he's dead. Zed's dead.
Zed's dead.
Yeah, just he loves saying this shit. Rocket or like he likes these little names.
Yeah, these little
catchy names. Yeah.
I find. Yeah, no, he likes that kind of shit. Anybody else?
What about? I really do like that opening scene at the wedding and that conversation between her and Bill, and then when she introduces her groom to Bill, and Bill's like, isn't it dangerous for a groom to see the bride in her wedding dress before the wedding? And he's like, well, I just like living on the dangerous side, if you know what I mean. Exactly. And then Bill's like, I know exactly. And I just like, because the context of who these people are, it just like is so good. Like, no, this guy is actually dangerous, and it's like you don't want him to find out, So I like that part too.
Having tits as fine and as big as yours, I can't imagine having that much rock salt on it. And then he spits. The best is when she spits in his face, and he spits back at her.
Yeah, with her cheap tobacco.
He got her.
Tobacco spit. That's so gross. Oh man. Yeah, and then the other bit. My favorite scene is that Bill scene and the Pai Mei. The Pai Mei scenes are the best. I agree with you guys.
What did he say? All American women know how to do is like complain and order food in restaurants or some shit. Or
he says so great.
or when Bill goes to drop her off there for the first time, he's like, "When am I going to see you again?" That's the title of my favorite soul song from the '70s. She's like, "What?" Nothing.
Oh, it's so sweet. I also like the scene when she's like trying to pick the rice with chopsticks, but her hand is so damaged that she can't, and then he like forces her to do it, and it's just like a really good like.
That's a classic type of scene from
in
these
kung
type
fu,
of,
yeah, like you have to embrace the pain,
yeah.
and
I think she did that shit in Mulan or something.
you see it often. You see it often, like kung fu is pain kind of thing, and so and that's actually it's really good because they show his face reacting to it, and he starts to smile, and you can see he's like you can see he's like warming up to her, and like like he's kind of like he's starting to have a liking to her, and she's the only one that he taught the 5-point thing to, so they got pretty close and stuff. So
yeah, a quote that I just thought I saw that I remember I liked about that close to that scene was, "Since your arm now belongs to me, I want it strong. Can you do that?" She says, "I can, but not that close." He says, "Then you can't do it. What if your enemy's 3 inches in front of you? What do you do then? Curl into a ball, or do you put your fist through him?" I love that. That was a great line.
And my favorite part about the last scene when she actually executes that thing, I love how at the end he gets up, he does up his jacket, he's like, "How do I look?"
Ready.
Yeah, you look ready, and he gets up, takes the final 5 steps, and as soon as he touches the ground with his fifth step, the way he like falls to the ground, it's just so sick. And then like in the Ennio Morricone music is playing there at the end, and yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that quote, "Nah, you're not a bad person. You're a terrific person. You're my favorite person. But every once in a while, you could be a real cunt."
So well done. He's just a master writer. I also like when he shoots her with the trank gun, and he goes into this whole spiel about Superman or whatever and everything, and then she's like, "Oh, sort of like Beatrix Kiddo and Miss Tommy Plinkin or whatever," and he's like, he finally connects the dots about why he's saying all this like superhero shit in relation to her story or whatever, and she goes, Uma Thurman goes, "Ah, the point emerges," like just like her delivery of it is so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know if I have too much else here. You guys, anything else? Julie, Parth?
No, I just wrote down that bit about the monologue and the comic book stuff, and like just the whole truth serum scene. So I guess I liked the slow bit at the ending that everybody else had beef with.
I liked it.
No. I don't think no one else did. I think I'm the only one that said that it was just, I felt like a little too long. I like everything that happened in it, though. It's good stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Bill shot you in the head. No?
Yeah.
I would have been much nicer. I would have just cut your face.
Yeah.
Where is Bill? Right?
Yeah, he's like, "Do you know why I help you? Because he would want me to."
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe you there, but it's the only time he's ever going to get to see you again.
Would he see you again? Yeah, exactly.
The thing is like, it does feel long, but I wouldn't take any of it out. If that makes sense.
It would be hard to, yeah,
like because it's all necessary. So it's kind of like it's meant to be long, I guess. How about the lioness and the cub have reunited and all is right in the jungle?
Yeah,
that final title card.
I also like how he did the scroll of all the actors with their scenes. Like he kind of did like a final, like even the people that were in part 1, he shows them all in part 2, like the cast that he had, and then like even the people that played 2 parts, like Michael Park or
Gordon Liu.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I liked how he did that.
Yeah, good proper ending to if you're gonna watch them both as 1-2 or something like that. Yeah.
No, BB, Shogun Assassin is too long. It's like this little kid is watching the most like violent violent action movie on cassette. I mean, I guess it's okay when you're.
I've never seen that movie. I know of it.
It was it was sampled in Liquid Swords.
Yeah.
Remember that? When that.
Sorry, something I just noticed like about that scene is that while they were watching that in their room, Bill is just also watching a different samurai movie downstairs. So like that's just what they do. They're just like, okay, now it's time to watch a whole action movie.
Yeah. It's just getting drunk watching samurai movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, like because I heard I seen a little clip of RZA talking about how he hooked up with Quentin about this, and then he said like how they were both talking about kung fu movies, and then Quentin like kind of outdid him because they were obviously referencing they knew what each other were talking about, but then RZA's like, yeah, I just got this Blu-ray of this. He's like, oh, I got the 35. He's like, whoa. RZA like fell in love with him right away. He's like, oh yeah, I got the print at home. Like just the fact that he actually has like prints of old films and stuff like that.
No,
right?
but the way Quentin described it is like such a relatable thing when he's like, when you're a fan of something, it's kind of a lonely existence because you're so into this thing and you're so like nerdy and geeked out about it that most people don't really care. Like you're not gonna meet like a lot of people and have a full-blown conversation about Kill Bill. Well, then when you meet like other like-minded people who have similar interests, it's like such a joy to sort of like sit down and it's like what we're doing this with the show vibe, and so it's just like it is relatable when it's like, oh yeah, I love Kill Bill, I would want to show this to everybody, but then people like I'll be like, oh yo, Kill Bill directed by Quentin Tarantino. Most people be like, who? Like right? Like most people, what I mean, they don't really care. So it's just like it is kind of like a comfort when you do meet like-minded people in that sense.
Exactly.
And
that's why we do this.
So that's what he was talking about when he met the RZA. It's like this is like it's so good to relate to someone who has the similar love to.
Yeah, because then you don't have to go out of your way to explain everything to them. They know where you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
I have one more quote here from Elle when she's like, she circles back on that regret conversation. She's like, I guess the feeling right now I have is more regret, and maybe the greatest warrior that I have ever met her end at the hands of a bushwhacking scrub alky piece of shit like you. That woman,
such a bitch.
That woman deserved better. As he's like sprawled out, like fucking dying of like venom in his face. He got bit 3 times.
Then she pulls out like a fucking Wikipedia page that she copied on her notepad or whatever.
I mean, you got to give it to the old girl. I've never met anyone buffalo the Bill the way she buffaloed Bill. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's it. That's all I got, though. I'm spent.
Yeah, I don't really have too much more either.
Max, did you notice that the can of chili in the cupboard? When
I did.
Like that shit?
Did you notice that? That reminded me of
Stag.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is it the same brand, that rat thing?
No.
Stag chili.
No. Was it the same brand?
I don't know if it was, but I noticed it.
When he
I just know.
He's grabbing the margarita stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Marks. Yeah. When he's grabbing that, he like goes to, and there's like a can of chili. It just reminded me of like the dog food bit.
Yeah.
And
Once Upon a Time. That thing is disgusting, by the way. Yeah. It's like rat flavored dog food. I'm like, what is this shit?
Gross.
And he's like, Brad Pitt is like making like craft dinner or something, and he like throws his cigarette in like the pot of food he's made. It's disgusting. I don't know why Tarantino loves to show these dirty.
Out of the pot.
He also lived in a trailer park, like a trailer, like Brad Pitt's character in that movie.
No, it's good.
Trailer trash,
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. You guys, anything else? No. Okay,
Nope.
I guess Julie, if you want to bring us home with the last categories here.
I didn't really have any unique questions for this one.
I had a couple.
Yeah, me too.
Would you guys say that being buried alive is one of the worst ways to die?
Oh my god, of course.
It's pretty terrifying, eh?
That sounds terrible. But I mean,
it's up there with drowning.
Is it worse than drowning or being set on fire?
On fire's bad.
Really bad.
On fire is probably the worst because you would feel it all. But then your nerve endings would you would stop feeling it at a certain point, but that would be excruciating.
I think it's up there with drowning for me.
Yeah, I just think the enclosure would be like if you could get comfy and just fall asleep, then whatever.
But you know what? You know what's crazy?
You'll die of oxygen, but you'd be freaking out.
Yeah, there's too much pre-death that's gonna get you because we're not Uma Thurman. We're not gonna punch our way out of it. Right. We're just gonna lay there and die. But you have to
accept it at a certain point. You're like, well, that's it for me.
I tried. I pushed. I'm done.
You know what's crazy though? People always say like, dying in your sleep is the most peaceful way to go. I find that terrifying too. Imagine going to bed.
You would never wake up. up.
You go to bed thinking, "Oh, it's just another day of bed," and you never woke up, and
Right.
that's like kind of sad. Like I guess
I
that's
just thought the
death,
way
you know?
that they filmed it was very terrifying in this when she's stuck in there,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like yeah, she got the flashlight and she has these powers, kung fu powers that she out. But like any other situation, you'd be screwed there. Like any, you know what I mean? So like,
now, can we also just talk about the realism of what would have happened if she punched that and all that dirt came in there? Like,
oh yeah,
it
she
would
was
be hard
suffocated.
for her to get out, right?
Yeah,
Like, she would probably just suffocate from that dirt coming in.
I don't know if it was CGI or what. I don't think Tarantino would ever fuck with CGI. But when she buries out of
it was like a
dirt,
weird
and
where
it's
she's like kind of
what is
coming
that
out.
I don't
dirt?
know.
Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like, and it seems like it's so much deeper than it should be. That like,
Right,
I don't know,
it was
very
that
weird.
was a little weird. I'll admit.
It's the only part, like, despite like this, obviously you have to like believe all
Suspense
like,
of
the,
disbelief.
suspense of disbelief. But that is the biggest stretch, I think, for me in this
Yeah.
movie. Like, I believe that she has a 5-point punch that will kill a man with his heart more than that she's getting out of that situation.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess you punch the hole and then you make the hole bigger, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Fucking
that was a
swim
bit
out,
of
I
a
don't know.
stretch. But the end result of her coming up out of there with all that the dust billowing,
It's like fucking quicksand.
water.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
Yeah. What was your question?
Were Elle and Bill fucking? I feel like that was insane. Are they a couple now? Like, 'cause she's like, "Oh, baby, I'll be home now." And
No,
she's like,
I
"The way
think
they
that
were-"
was
I feel like he was fucking everyone.
Huh?
You think she was fucking everybody else?
I think he was fucking everyone.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Though even the way he was holding like Sophie in the hospital, it was very like my dear Sophie. It was just like very
Exactly.
sexual, you know, like in a way, like.
I don't think she was fucking him as much as she wanted to be the one fucking him, because I think that was Uma Thurman over her. He chose her over.
Mhm.
I'm not saying
But
they never.
she's like, they've been broken up for years now, though, is what I'm saying. Like,
I don't know.
you know what I mean?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think because I think who she got on the phone with after she talked to Bill and said that go visit this Paula Schultz grave. I think that I felt like, oh yeah, okay, honey, go get high or whatever. I thought she was just talking to some young fuckboy of hers. Or
No,
something.
she was talking to Bill. She's like, your
Yeah.
brother's
Bill.
dead or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but did she
Oh.
not get on? Is that not another phone call though? When she says go get high, I don't think she said
was the
go
same-
get
I
high to
think it-
Bill.
Yeah, she said, go smoke some pot, honey.
That
I'll
was
be
in
home.
Bill.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
That's
it
what
was
I
too. 'Cause
thought.
she was telling
Okay,
him where
okay.
the resting site was.
Okay, no, I thought that phone call was different than the one that where she said
Huh.
that. I didn't know if that was that same phone call. Or...
Bro, if Bill was fucking everybody, there's some foxy women in this movie. I'm just gonna say, like, he's in the Hall of Fame if that's what was happening. Like, you know, what's another question? And this is more for Volume 1. Was it Bill that killed Oren's dad in the anime sequence? The guy that stabs him with the samurai sword, and then he pulls out the sword, and the guy has like rings and shit. And then earlier in the movie, they showed Bill with the sword, and he has like rings on. And I was like,
Oh,
was that, like,
maybe.
I
a
thought
young-
that was him too.
was that like a young Bill that killed her dad or whatever? And
I didn't catch that.
yeah, so
I
was
didn't
like
catch
another
it
one I was
either.
like-
Yeah,
That was
the
like
sword in
another-
the ring. I caught that, and I was thinking that too. And so I was making this connection, but I wasn't sure either. So I still don't know. It could be.
Mhm.
And then, like, let's say if it is, what does that mean? I mean, she probably doesn't know it's him, right?
Mhm.
So she's just like, you know, this is an assassin for him, but
It was a
doesn't
missed
realize-
revenge
yeah.
plot.
right.
Or maybe it was like he mentored her, so, and she kind of realized like he's just like a hired hand. He's not really the one, even though he did kill him. He's not really the one responsible for the death in the sense. I guess it's like that Yakuza boss that ordered.
Yeah,
the death.
possibly.
I don't know. But that's what I was always just curious. I was like, is that Bill? Like, because earlier they showed the rings, and then
Right, yeah,
in the
he's
anime,
like jerking
it
off
seemed-
his sword in one of the scenes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you see his rings. I know you remember that.
Yeah.
Also, my other question was like, what was the deal with that woman's busted up lip, the pimp?
Yeah, I wondered.
Was
He
that
said the pimp said he would have cut her face.
Oh, that's what
So
he did.
that's what that was. Like, was
That's
she
what
slit
that was
her
my
lip?
read.
Ooh, that shit
Okay.
That shit was
That makes
uncomfortable.
When
to
I
look
was
at.
younger, I didn't know if that was like a sexually communicated,
STD?
yeah, STD,
Yeah,
like
that's what I
transmitted
thought.
disease or something. Like, because I was like, what the fuck's going on there? And then
My read was that the pimp cut her face.
well,
And
I
that was
thought,
like-
yeah, because the fact that she was with the pimp, I'm like, okay, maybe the pimp beat her up, but it was such a weird,
That
like, because
is-
it was so that's what he did. He cut her lip. That's why it was split. Okay, I
See,
didn't.
I thought it was just like a clef flip the first
See,
first
so
few times I watched it.
I
Yeah.
also had that
That's
thought.
just
Yeah,
the top. The
but it
bottom
was the
usually is
bottom.
not.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my only other question. Is that one? I just never knew what that was. Right, what happened to her there? But because it's funny too, because after she witnesses that, she's very quiet for a moment when she's talking to him. If you notice, she's like visibly like bothered by it, and you can see that she wants to do something about it, but she's kind of reserved, like she's trying not to because she needs information out of him in that scene. So, but if you go back, if you were to watch that scene, if you guys didn't notice, like she has a look on her face after that where she's like visibly bothered by like what had occurred, like seeing that chick after that, right? So, yeah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the only other thing. Do you guys have any questions or?
I had one that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, but maybe we can just talk about a little bit more. Like, let's just theorize about what Kill Bill 3 could be, even though it's probably not going to happen. Let's just muse. So, like, what if we get crazy with it? What if BB wants to get revenge on Beatrix? So now, like, she's like, "Oh my God, you killed my dad, the only person I was with," and now she partners up with the kiddo of the Copperhead.
Yes.
So now these two young girls get together and are maybe mentored by Elle because she's still alive. So now she's the scornful mentor.
A blind Elle is gonna mentor
the blind tutor. Yes,
Why not?
You know you're doing some crazy stuff there.
Yeah.
You're gonna teach them to fight in the dark.
Exactly.
Also, Sophie is still alive too.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. She left a lot of loose ends in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And when Quentin actually has talked about Volume 3 before, he's played around with the idea of going back, right? But yeah, I like that. I like your idea.
I'm just getting wild with it.
I would have just strictly went with Copperhead's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she actually said that line to her, if you're still a little raw about this or whatever, like come back and find me in the future.
I think that was like the primary story that was thrown out there by Quentin.
Yeah.
And I think Vivica Fox mentioned that she would like Zendaya to play the adult Nikki. I don't know how you guys think about that.
I like Zendaya, but I don't
kind
know
of like Zendaya.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that'd be interesting.
You know, I will say this. You know, he has said that like the next movie is going to be his last, but he hasn't made a movie in a while. And the movie that he was supposed to make, he abandoned, that movie critic thing, which makes me think that maybe he put so much pressure on himself to make that last movie that he sort of.
I hate that he said that.
Yeah, he kind of fucked himself.
He
He kind of fucked himself a bit, I think, doing that.
I knew that was a mistake when he said it. I'm like, don't fucking keep leaning on this. And he does so many interviews.
He should have just retired after he had made the film.
And he doesn't mind talking about shit in interviews. So like everyone asked him about it after that when he said it.
I think that the pressure is so high for the next final film, if it turns out to be his final movie, that he's kind of like, oh, it has to be a great movie. I wouldn't mind if his last movie was Kill Bill Volume 3. I think that
he could get it out there, and then that wouldn't even be his 10th movie, right? So
it
that
would be part of the Kill Bill.
Yeah,
fourth
good
movie.
point.
What I prefer is him revisiting another idea he talked about.
Reservoir Dogs remake?
No, but the movie about Michael Madsen and the brothers.
But you can't do that because they're too old now, and they both died on screen.
Oh yeah, they both did die.
They both died. So
no, oh yeah,
it was supposed to be when they were in Amsterdam together or whatever.
But can he not cast other people as them? But he would never do that.
Yeah, but like, would you even want to see that? Like someone other than
I would watch anything Tarantino did.
Yeah, but I don't know. Michael Madsen and John Travolta. It's just like they're so iconic in those characters.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be the Vega brothers, right?
The Vega brothers. Yeah. No, he did throw out that he was gonna take Reservoir Dogs and remake it with an all-black cast. And the idea was
that he made it a play he did a play.
Did he do that?
He wrote a play.
But he said like the mentality was like, let me remake my first movie as my last movie and like show like how I've evolved, like how much better of a filmmaker I've become using the same material or whatever. Like, but then I think he quickly abandoned. He's like, no, I have to make something original for my last movie.
That would be interesting, but no, come on, we want a fresh.
Yeah, we want something new.
He's really put it like like put himself inside, backed himself into a corner. Now I don't like that. I don't like how he said he should have just made the 10th movie and just stopped.
You know what he also said? You know what he also said? I don't know.
Leave the door open. It's like me saying I was leaving late night chat how many fucking times, and here I am.
He's like,
and
Michael
look
Jordan,
how it is.
Retire, right? No, but the thing is, I can't remember if you said
His
it on
return as the
I was literally
Neekster.
at your last episode. I was in the chat.
I can't remember.
Michael Jordan wearing the 4-5. What he said. Jay-Z.
What?
Jay-Z line where he says like, "Oh, they come back like Michael Jackson." Not Michael Jackson.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
retire like Jay-Z. I can't remember if he said on Joe Rogan or when he did that interview with Bill Maher, or he did like multiple interviews with
Quentin?
both of them.
Yeah.
Quentin.
Yeah.
He said something along the lines of he considers Kill Bill the 4th movie, but if he wants to just go out on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he'll just consider Volume 2 number 5. And so there's 10 right there, like almost as a troll to the audience. Like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the last movie.
And now what he's doing is he's allowing fucking somebody else to do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. David
That is
Fincher,
interesting.
right?
Yeah. That is interesting why he's not directing that himself.
He's literally lengthening this excuse of his, I feel like, by doing this shit.
You know what, though? Honestly, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his last movie, because I don't know if you guys want to go into the ranking, but that's my personal favorite one of his.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, we can do the ranking, Aaron.
But like, I'm not mad if that is his last movie. But it was because like since he's made that movie, he's become a dad. He's had kids. If he just wants to retire and chill with his family, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, go do that, Quentin. Like, you've given us more than enough. I think, that's just the way I see it,
Okay, so top 5, you want a top 5? I'll give you a top 5.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Why don't you let Parth go, since he picked...
No, I'm just putting my list together. Yeah, but go ahead.
Do you have a top 5?
I do. I did all of them, but I'm going to do just the top 5, and I'm changing one thing real quick, but we're good. All right.
If you want, we could do all of them.
No, let's just do the top 5 feels good.
Okay,
top 5 feels good.
5 feels good? Okay.
All right, I'll start with top 5. Number 1, Django Unchained. Love that movie, so good. Number 2, Kill Bill 1 and 2. They're my number 2. Number 3 is Inglourious Bastards. Number 4 is Reservoir Dogs, and number 5 is Once Upon a Time.
Whoa.
I don't know.
And that was hard. I just switched Pulp Fiction and Once Upon a Time. I had Pulp Fiction as number 5 and 6 as once, and then I switched them.
Pulp didn't make your top 5.
Wow, that is crazy, low-key.
Yeah.
So the only big difference for me and your list, actually, there's I guess 2 that are different. I can't even put this in like order for top 5. I'm just gonna give you my top 5 because right now I would have to revisit these to actually do the list right now. But I will say, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Pulp Fiction, it has to be there, of course. Inglourious Bastards, I'm a huge fan of. But then the Reservoir Dogs and Jackie Brown, actually. Django wouldn't make my top 5. I'd probably put Django, honestly, like 7th after Kill Bill, probably, out of all of these films. And I'm not...
Wait. You said no order, right? So...
For those, I'll put in order.
But like,
no order.
Once Upon a Time is
okay.
Is number
I'll try to give you an order. Pulp Fiction 1, Inglourious Bastards. Inglourious Bastards 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 3, Jackie Brown 4, Reservoir Dogs 5. And
Jackie Brown 4. Okay.
All right. So that's probably my order for that. And the only reason that I put Reservoir Dogs lower on this list, though, is because I haven't revisited it in a long time, and I feel like that's one of those movies that every time I've rewatched it, I hate to say this, I'm less impressed by it. I'm impressed by it the first time. It's one of those movies that I don't revisit as much. Like, it's impressive still, but I don't get much more out of it. I'm at the point where I don't get much more out of that movie.
I have a theory as to why you think that. Right. I think because in the context,
it's still amazing.
In the context of Tarantino's career, it might have, like, because it is kind of amateurish, it's lower budget, it's
right.
He's just, it's his first movie, right? But if you could take out all of Tarantino's movies out and compare Reservoir Dogs with just other 90s film or just like other people's movies, it's an all-timer for me. Still, like,
this is a great. I can literally move any of these in my top 5.
Yeah.
Like, I love all these movies, but like, I have to rank it lower for that reason, in my opinion.
So I always was like, in my opinion, his first 3 movies that he made in the 90s were always like my favorite, and I could have just like put them in any order. But last December, I think I told you, when I went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 35 millimeter or whatever, it just jumped to number one. I'm like, this is his best movie. Like, I love the friendship between DiCaprio and
It's a
Pitt.
great movie.
It's like it's such a great movie about friendship and all the other all the bells and whistles of it. I just love so much. So that is number one. Then 2, 3, and 4 is literally just like any order of Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. You could put Jackie at 2. You could put Pulp Fiction at 2.
So far you got 4 for 5 of mine.
Yeah, and then 5 is Kill Bill.
Okay,
Oh,
so you're
5 is Kill
Django's
Bill.
in like either list. Wow,
Kill
we
Bill
need to
is
do a
6 for me.
Django watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen. I like Inglourious Bastards. I like Django, and those are like kind of when I jumped into the Tarantino because like
Right.
like when I started like following it.
Makes sense for our age, yeah.
I'll be honest with you though, I don't like those movies as much as other people. Like I've never.
You've said this to me before.
I've said this to you, but I just have never responded to Inglourious Bastards as strongly.
That's Hateful Eight for me though. I don't really.
I
like
love
it.
Hateful
See,
Eight.
I don't
love the
I don't like
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight either.
And I feel like, and if you guys want to hear like a hot take, and I feel like
Death Proof is his worst movie. Don't even give me that shit. All right.
it is his worst movie. It is, but I still love Death Proof.
It's fine.
I love.
It's fine. But
Yeah.
Death Proof is number
I have
9.
it
You
right
know what?
lowest.
Death Proof is another thing. Is like, is it one movie or is it meant to be seen alongside Planet Terror, like Grindhouse double, like you know what I mean? Like, because that's how it
No,
was
it's an
packaged.
anthology though. It's that's his contribution. You have
But
to. You have
but
to,
it was packaged as
doesn't matter.
Grindhouse.
can't-
You know what I mean? Like,
you have to rate it separately. You have to.
I mean,
No.
I don't know. Do you like? It's I don't know. Whatever. We'll just pencil that one away. But like, fine. If you want to put Death Proof at the end, that's I'm cool. I'm cool with that. But I feel like this is the hot take, and I don't know if I'll piss you guys off with this. I feel like after Kill Bill, he literally just remade Kill Bill with Inglourious Bastards and Django. They were just like
No.
action revenge.
Let me say
fantasy.
something, and this
100%.
might be the
And
hot
then
take.
Hateful, wait. I just want to get this point out. And then why I love the Hateful Eight is because I finally feel like he went back to writing a fucking story. Like, because Hateful Eight is an actual story. Like,
Now
you know
let me
what I
get
mean?
my
With characters,
unpopular
like,
take out here.
you know what I mean? And
It's screenplay.
and
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs is such a movie that is so true to my heart. And Hateful Eight has like a Western Reservoir Dogs. They're all in like one location and they're all pointing guns at each other. And he brought back Tim Roth and he brought back Michael Madsen from Reservoir Dogs. So like that's just my whole thing. I was like, oh, I love Hateful. Like Hateful Eight would probably be 6.
Okay, can an argument be made, and maybe I'll get like some flack for this, but do you think that I maybe put Inglourious Bastards and Django higher on the list because I'm American and it's deeper in our history versus your guys's?
No, maybe that could
Maybe.
that's
Good
an
point.
interesting look at it.
Right? Because I
Listen,
mean, racism, huge divide, war, big divide, big things that we learn a lot about, big part of our growing up. So
Right.
you know. Here's the thing: the year
Maybe.
that Inglourious Bastards came out, 2009, was the year that I got acquainted with.
Well, I put Inglourious Bastards number 2 though. I
True.
I know you love Inglourious
Yeah.
Bastards. I know. Listen, I like it too. I like that film a lot too. But when we were comparing like the other ones, it's just it kind of just sifts down for
Leo
me.
is fantastic in Django too. I mean, like
Leo is fantastic,
that's
but he's
insane.
better in Once Upon a Time in
I
Hollywood,
agree.
100%.
I agree.
Listen, when Inglourious Bastards came out in 2009 was the first year I started getting acquainted with Tarantino like properly, and I saw Reservoir Dogs, and I think I saw Pulp Fiction a little bit after I saw Inglourious Bastards. And I look at Inglourious Bastards and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it's not even. It wasn't moving me. It wasn't impressing me the way Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction did. Like I wasn't responding to it as strongly, but I could see that it was like a good movie. But so that's just sort of like. It's not that I don't like the movie. I just like his other work so much more. You know, does that make sense?
And I'll also say something good about Hateful Eight, which, despite me not loving it, it's one of his best shot films.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's an amazing,
beautiful.
Like,
I think he shot it on 70. Actually,
even the openings, just the opening sequences alone, and I know everyone's really hot on what's his name right now, Walton Goggins. He's fantastic.
He's great in
movie.
that.
Yeah. So
and he
like,
finally made Sam Jackson the main character in his story.
Yes.
That was like the first time that happened with Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And also, the Hateful Eight also talks about racism and
it does.
his vision
but
of
that-
And then he has
America
a whole
and stuff.
speech about how he made him suck his dick or something on a fucking.
That is the greatest scene ever.
It's the most ridiculous fucking scene, and he's like laughing because he made a white man suck his black dick or whatever. And it's just like so ridiculous.
That is awesome, bro.
It definitely did, and that it was so hard to place any of these movies anywhere, and I think I just put it at number 8 because it was going to be easy to do that. I was like, oh, this will be fun, just have it number 8, and so that's why I have it down there. But it was so hard to do these movies.
Yeah.
Listen,
They-
anybody you ask will have a completely different list. That's
Yeah,
what's the
yeah.
beauty of like, and that's
and
how
they're
you
all
go.
fully respectable as
And
Tarantino
Julie,
fans.
I just know you haven't seen them all. That's why I haven't really.
I've seen 5.
Oh, okay. So what's your 5 then?
If you can rank them, I guess.
I didn't know if you're at 5 yet. My
Well,
bad.
let's say what's your top 3 since you've only watched 5, right? 'Cause
Oh,
then
yeah,
we
yeah.
wouldn't leave
That's
much
fair.
That's
room.
fair,
yeah.
That's fair. In order.
Pulp Fiction.
Number
Nice.
1.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kill Bill. Jackie Brown.
Which other one? What are the other 2 you have seen?
Inglourious Bastards and
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
And
All
now
right.
this is gonna be
So
interesting
then I would
'cause-
probably go Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and then Inglourious Bastards.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
Now we can revisit, or you guys can revisit this with Julie after we get her to watch all the other ones. And
True,
once we
yeah,
watch
I
them
have to
all,
do
now
a
we can
whole
do
rewatch
yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm down. Yeah, we'll have to.
But if I have to go off the rip, that's how I feel about it at this moment in time.
You know, another thing, we don't have to harp on it so much, but like another thing, when I saw Django, I was like, okay, he's just doing Inglourious Bastards again, but in the West. Like, and Christoph
Well,
Waltz,
that's how
Christoph Waltz is in there, and I wasn't even that impressed with Inglourious Bastards, and I was like less impressed with Django. You know,
First of all, it's in his opinion and mine. It's his best. His best that opening scene with Christoph Waltz and Inglourious Bastards is the best thing he's ever done, in my opinion. That is fantastic.
I don't agree.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good, that
Yeah.
part. He says the same.
It's probably
thing.
the best scene in that movie, I would say.
I agree with you that Christoph Waltz just plays a different.
I didn't even like. I
He
hated
does.
that I hated that he worked with Christoph Waltz again in Django. Like, and he's just the same guy, but he's a good guy. It's just
You know what he said though is because he wanted to give him redemption for being the Nazi in
Yeah.
that movie. He wanted to be the good German in the other.
Is that why he cast Sam Jackson in Hateful Eight, because of the character he
I
plays in
guess.
Django? Like,
He's just a despicable human being
Yeah.
in Django. Yeah.
Gotta
yeah.
give
and
him
Leo, I
redemption,
guess
yeah.
too, because Leo was a slave master, and then
Yeah.
Leo in Once Upon a
Anyways, as you can tell, guys, we love our Tarantino. So yeah, they
Absolutely.
take those lists.
Shout
for
out
what you
Quentin.
will.
Thank you, Quentin.
What do we
Absolutely.
got
What a
left here?
QT.
Movie pairings. Your favorite category, Julie. Go ahead.
Well, I also have a thing to say about the legacy.
Oh
which
yeah, go ahead. Do
we
legacy.
did talk about it earlier, that it has inspired so much in the hip hop industry.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that also like there's things that are used in this movie that are not original to the movie necessarily, but anytime you hear, like specifically with the audio stuff, anytime you hear those audio cues, you think of Kill Bill.
Absolutely.
Like
Mhm.
the fucking zoom on the eyes with the siren sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
from like a
also
show from
the-
the 60s or some shit.
Yeah.
Ironside or
And the
whatever, yeah.
Twisted Nerve whistling song, you think of Kill
Mhm.
Bill.
Mhm.
But yeah, mostly just like how much of like hip hop has taken from the movie was a thing that I thought
Yeah.
of for legacy. Anyway, but yeah, movie pairings. I wrote down. I have 7. But besides the obvious, which I wrote down, Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I wrote down this. They might be kind of weird, but Natural Born Killers reminds me of this for some reason, which I know that Nico doesn't like.
No,
I like that movie.
It's also Quentin Tarantino doesn't like it, right? Like he hates that movie.
I understand, but it reminds me of it for some reason.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
I wrote down Boondock Saints, but particularly the second one.
I've never seen the second one.
Well, then we gotta watch the first one to get the second one anyway. So whatever. Boondock Saints as a duo. I wrote down No Country for Old Men.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm interested. Why?
I don't know. I just felt like it was related. I don't know. I think these are just they're on a vibe. They're not on.
Ace in both of them.
Oh my god.
I wrote down Sin City,
Yeah.
which I feel like
that one makes sense.
I have used Sin City so many times on this show.
That's a real good pairing, actually. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
And I also wrote I think I've only seen this once, but like it feels maybe it's a little too it's too obvious, but it's like Charlie's Angels kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
I actually didn't have a lot for this, surprisingly, because I felt like a lot of the things that I feel like would pair well with this movie are kung fu movie inspired, and I haven't seen enough of that kind of stuff, so I didn't feel right like picking things. I
Me
will say
too.
though,
Yeah.
yeah, I will say though, I mean, obviously, other than the obvious Tarantino picks that you could pair with this, you could, yeah, you could say Pulp Fiction. I actually think Death Proof is a really good pairing with this, just because of the exploitation kind of thing.
But I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't
Right.
make that matchup. Yeah.
So I would say that, despite me not loving that movie, I think that's probably the best pairing out of his stuff, honestly, for this movie. That being said, I would say the manga, and it also is a film which heavily inspired this, but I've read the manga, and that's Lady Snowblood, which heavily inspired this film, because there's the girl who's grown up as a trained assassin in it, and that's basically like the Oren character in this.
She looks like her too.
Yeah. So that's cited as like direct inspiration. There is also a film that's on the Criterion Collection actually right now. I looked it up. That's of the Lady Snowblood film, but the manga came before the actual film, and I have read the manga. The manga is also written by the guy who did other stuff like Lone Wolf and Cub. He also wrote that. It's also a film. And then there's also he did another one called Crying Freeman, which is a really good manga and anime, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, I think that's also a movie. All these mangas also became, I think, films, or that were films first in Japan. So I would definitely say like any of those samurai or like ninja assassin type of like
Ninja Assassin is fire.
Yeah. Any of that kind of stuff, I would cite as probably good pairings with this. But I'm gonna go from, like you guys sometimes say, a video game or like something outside of the movie medium. I would say that manga for sure. It's a great one, Lady Snowblood, and I'm sure the movie's fire too. I just haven't seen it, so. All right.
Yeah.
Parth?
So some weird ones I had were Lock, Stock, and Loaded Barrel, or Two Smoking Barrels. I was getting that vibe, especially with like character introductions and stuff like that.
Are you a fan of that movie, Parth?
I love that movie.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind, because I know you're not as big of a Guy Ritchie fan. I'm a huge.
I don't mind that movie though. I like that one.
That's his best movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
Snatch is pretty good too.
Snatch is good. We've done Snatch.
Yeah. I remember.
And then JT was giggling the whole time because it's called Snatch. Anyways.
But yeah, so that gave me the vibe. John Wick, that was definitely a good revenge story that made me think of this. Ghost in the Shell, that was one that I thought of.
Oh, great.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is good.
That does match up.
The anime movie.
The anime, especially, yeah. Especially with the anime scene in Kill Bill too.
I don't mind the live action one though. I'll say that.
I've never seen
it. I don't mind it either.
I don't think it's actually that. It's pretty good actually.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I had for pairings.
All right, Max.
Okay, I got Furiosa. I feel like when George Miller made Furiosa, like the one that came out last year, I feel like that he was like trying to make a Tarantino movie, like even like how that movie's divided in chapters and stuff, and
the black and white stuff. And
and it's like a girl getting revenge. I even feel like Anya Taylor-Joy, to me, looks more like a young Uma Thurman than she does a young Charlize Theron. Like, I think it like kind of lined up. It was really similar.
I have to revisit that. You guys both like that movie a lot.
I really do. I think it was in my top 5 actually last year.
It was. I think.
Wasn't it? Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
If it wasn't, it was right outside of your top 5. It was like in your top 10 or something.
Yeah. No, I definitely.
It was in Julie's top 5.
I think it was in mine too.
Ridiculous, because she hated Fury Road.
That is interesting, but. But you know what? I will say, like, there are sequences in Furiosa where I'm like, this is like the best scenes he's ever done. Like that highway scene is fantastic. But shout out George Miller.
Hated Fury Road though. How do you hate that and you love Fury Road?
You might have to revisit Fury Road. She might like watch it and not, she might warm up. You don't think so?
My opinion changes at the cycle of the moon, dude. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. This is a movie I don't think people were like, I don't know if people warmed up, but I really like this movie, Bullet Train. with Brad Pitt.
Oh, I love that movie. That movie is
Yes.
so good.
I like that movie too, but that is definitely what you were saying earlier of a Tarantino-esque type.
It
Yes,
is.
that
It
It
is
totally
super
very
Tarantino,
much
yes.
is a very Tarantino
really
ripoff.
is.
But I liked it.
And also
I
Guy
liked it.
Ritchie too, like his humor
Yes.
and stuff.
But,
Yeah,
but,
like
but if you want to talk about derivative type of movies,
you're
that
right.
is definitely one.
You're
But good. I
you're
enjoyed
100%
it.
right.
Yeah.
Like the whole American and Japan thing, and like
yeah. It's just the
really,
whole thing. Bad Bunny shows up as an assassin. It's ridiculous. Like I like it though. I like it.
I really
like
know.
it.
I watched it earlier this year. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Old Boy, like
that's a good
the
one.
Korean one
That's
though.
a good one. Yeah.
The Korean one, not the
Josh Brolin one.
No,
I think
no.
I've seen that.
You probably watched the Josh Brolin one though. That's your boy.
No, I think I watched it with Miles. I think we watched the Korean one. I
Oh,
think
it's
we
fantastic.
did.
Fantastic revenge story.
Fucked up ending.
Yeah. Battle Royale, because like he references it.
Oh
and
yeah,
I
I'm
would
surprised
say,
I didn't. I even
yeah,
talked about it.
I would say that's like probably one of the bigger influences on this movie too. And Monkey Man with Dev Patel that
Still
came out
haven't
last
seen
year.
Oh, I haven't
was like,
seen it either. That's on my
it's
list.
a great. It's like a revenge story. It's very like
JT likes it a lot.
Yeah. I remember me and JT were
It's the
talking about
Indian John Wick essentially, but with
Yeah,
guns.
yeah.
You know,
I like Dev
would
Patel
say
a
it's
lot,
more like
too.
Indian Kill Bill, like in the sense that Dev was trying to like bring back like the old school feeling of like great martial art films and like sort of lineage and stuff, and it's more like hand to hand combat, and he's just like it's also similar to like a Bruce Lee or like a Kill Bill movie where he's going up a tower, up a level, beating up bad guys and stuff. Like
so, like
he killed it, and he directed it too. He did a fantastic job. So
I'll have to check that out.
Shout out to that. Yeah,
it's been on my list.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna do it for our legacy, or I guess Julie said legacy. Do you guys have anything to say on legacy? That it's his fourth film.
That's another brilliant entry into
Right.
like one of the greatest artists of our lifetime, of all time.
That's
really.
all I have to say
You know,
about that.
so-
Yeah, Parth, anything in terms of legacy of
just-
this film?
Complete random throw out, shout out the song Chill Bill, Rob Stone, and some other rappers. Amazing song that is part of the legacy left by this movie to me.
Oh shit, I didn't know about that. Chill
yeah,
Bill.
yeah,
it's called?
Chill Bill. It's called and it does the whistle, the twisted nerve whistle as the back hook, and then it just raps over it. It's amazing. I'd give it a listen if you guys haven't.
I was about to say maybe I'll put it on as the outro. Then.
Oh, yeah.
Have either of you guys ever seen Attack on Titan, the anime?
Yeah.
I think I saw one poster where it had Mikasa, like that character in the Uma Thurman like poster, the Kill Bill. And
Yes.
It was just such a sick poster, like of like connecting the two things. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very very present in our pop culture. Like Kill Bill, like it's just
obviously all
everywhere.
over like Simpsons, Family Guy. I'm sure all
I
those
think that's
ones have
its
done
legacy.
it.
You know?
It's
Video games too. In like Tekken, they had one character who was like in a bride costume, Nina. Like, and so it was like I don't know. You will see Kill Bill anywhere. Like, for real.
All right, I think that's it for the categories then, which means we've come down to the exciting moment where Julie is actually going to be making her next pick for the show. And
drum roll, please.
If all goes to plan, I think JT will end up being back for that. But once again, I do want to thank Parth. Thank you for joining us on. This is a lot of fun. Thank you for picking this great movie for us to discuss here. And definitely come back sometime. Honestly,
Please.
maybe
I would love to. I'd love to.
to.
Anytime. You tell me when, I'll be here.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right. Keep it in mind. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Go ahead, Julie. Take it away, though.
Okay, Nico knows how much I labored over this decision because Studio Ghibli, they're just all so great, but it always comes down to two of them. But he knows, I did watch those two very recently, and so it came down to the one I'd seen less recently, and it is my favorite one. So we're going to watch Spirited Away finally.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna finally watch it because I've never seen
it. And maybe we'll watch it. We'll see if he'll actually watch it. I mean,
I think this is a great meeting of the worlds for JT in the kid movie, but also it's
good. I'm the one that encouraged you because at first you're like, well, I don't know if he wants to watch that. I'm like, that's not the point of the show. You pick things
you're right.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I absolutely love that movie. I love all of the Ghibli films, honestly. So for different reasons, I'll have a ranking ready for that episode, believe me. But I mean,
very timely too because of like the controversy that happened with the whole AI thing.
Yes.
You guys know about it. And
how
stuff,
pissed he is that people were using.
Yeah. Huge thing.
He's an interesting character, man. He's very. his thoughts on doing this stuff. If you ever hear quotes from him, they're always fantastic. Like his whole idea of like doing like, and you know, he's even stepped away and then recently has come back to the company and he's making movies again. So yeah, but he's worried about the future with all this shit, right?
Of course,
like I understand,
as am I, you know.
but beautifully animated films. So yeah, that's the Miyazaki movie by Studio Ghibli. Spirited Away, and they recently just did a re-release too of Princess Mononoke, which is actually my favorite Miyazaki film, actually, in theaters for that 3-day engagement there.
I remember that.
I missed out on it, unfortunately. So
I've yet to see a single one of them. Part, do you have a favorite Miyazaki film?
Probably Spirited Away. So I'm excited to rewatch that with Julie before she gets on the podcast. I will be definitely joining her for that.
Okay, great. All right, there you go. So that's gonna do it for this episode, everybody. Episode 60 in the books here. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. If you missed out on 1, definitely go back and check that out in the feed. And we'll see you guys next time. And we're gonna be listening to some Chill Bill here on the outro. Here we go.
Nice.
All right.
Water.
It's pretty sick.
Rob Stone, 2 damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code. Used to sip out styrofoam, but figured I should stick to dro. Backwoods overload, don't like to smoke them swishers, ho. If you hit my liquor store, it's 50 cents for single.